I remember when I was younger, the times where I'd go over to stay at my grandmother's house during the weekends, and how we'd always get up to something fun each time. Oh, like for example, there was this truly enormous tree in a garden, right? And this tree, as big as it was, it always seemed to get itself tangled up with ivy. Oh, the wretched stuff. Oh, it leeches the life out of trees, you know, ivy. It zaps them dry until eventually it just kills them. Oh, obviously my grandmother didn't want that to happen, so of course whenever I was over there, we'd do our best to try and remove the stuff whenever we spotted some. Sometimes we'd even make a game out of it, you know, who could get down the most ivy. Even though we couldn't get the ivy higher up the tree, we always dealt with the ivy lower down. Oh, and speaking of, below the tree, we'd often sit there on some nice sunny days. And Grandma would be in her deck chair, and I'd be there with my little shovel in hand, digging about, and I'd often dig up older toys my dad lost there when he was younger. Oh, I accumulated quite a collection of little bits and pieces that way. Grandma got me this bag to put them all in, my little treasure bag, and I still have it. Oh, those good times that was. Oh, and I can't forget how, much to my mum's chagrin, Grandma always making sure that I had a new toy each visit. Like, there were toy ducks, plushies, trains galore. I loved them as a kid. I was really into Thomas then. Oh, a little robot spider and robot ants. I even named the spider. I called her Matilda. Matilda the spider. Oh, I loved each and every one of them. And then there was her puzzles. Where to begin? Oh, she had loads of them. I'm talking loads of puzzles. Oh, she loved a good puzzle. A real hardcore puzzler she was. Most of them were about 1,000 pieces even. Oh, she had a real meticulous method of solving them as well. I remember it clearly. First of all, she'd empty out the box onto the desk. And then, she'd separate the edges and corners out from the rest of the pieces, and assemble them first into a nice border for the puzzle. And then after that, she'd work her way inward, filling the pieces in towards the centre of the puzzle. And if I was there, I'd sometimes help out with her puzzles. I tried to learn from her example where I could, but I could never quite match her puzzling prowess. She'd always manage to lose sight of one piece, though. There were many boxes with missing pieces. And she'd say we'd have to hunt the thimble, as she put it, to find them again. And sometimes even then we'd never find them, but that didn't really matter. We had a good laugh about it, and we moved on. My grandmother was a wonderful lady. Truly one of a kind. I'll never forget her.
Alright, we're recording.
I will be calling my grandma. I haven't talked to her in a few weeks now. She's living in Turkey and I'm studying here in UK. So I'm not able to spend time with her as much. She's the one that raised me growing up. I was born and they just gave me to her. The last time I saw her was in January, I think January 13th, so it's been 1.5 months since I last saw her. Usually she calls me. I'm bad at calling her because we've got 3 hours of difference, and every time I'm free it is already too late in Turkey. But it is also like kind of hard for me to call her because every time I call her I feel like I'm gonna cry because I miss her so much. That's why I kind of avoid calling her as well, but that is probably not good because yeah. But I'm just quickly going to call her, and yeah, I'm gonna call her. She's gonna be so happy that I called her. If she opens up. Alo?
Alo.
Ne yapıyorsun babaannem?
Ama iyiyim kuzum, sen nasılsın? Kuzum.
Ben de iyiyim, teşekkür ederim.
Ne yaptın? Ne diyorsun? Okul nasıl?
İyi, ne olsun işte. Geçiyor bir şekilde. Evet. Arayayım dedim öylesine.
Ay sağ ol, teşekkür ederim anneannem, babaannem.
Rica ederim. Okulda bir ödevim var. Biriyle alakalı bir film yapmam lazım.
Evet.
Ben de seni seçtim. Seninle alakalı film yapacağım.
Yavrum benim. Kuzum benim. Babaannesinin tatlısı. Babaannesinin bir tanesi.
Yes, I decided to make a film about my grandma. But we had some complications. We had more than 2,500 kilometers between us. And I somehow needed to figure out how to make a film about her. I collected old photos and tried to find old footage, but it wasn't really enough. So I called her again. Ne yapıyorsun? Nasılsın?
İyiyim kuzum, sen nasılsın?
Ben de iyiyim, teşekkür
Sen
ederim.
çok değişmişsin be babaannem.
Ya nasıl çok değiştim be babaannem ya. Üf,
Vallahi
değiştim. Nasıl? Ne değişmiş?
daha güzel olmuşsun.
Teşekkür ederim. On that day, we talked for 2 hours. It was her first time doing a video chat, and she was excited about it. I asked her to tell me some stories, anything. At first she struggled. She was excited to talk, but she couldn't think of anything. Then we started talking about her birthday coming up in May. Then she told me about something else happening in May in her life, 52 years ago.
Memlekette 16 6 Mayıs'tı. Burada 12 Mayıs'tı.
Kaç yaşındaydın?
14 yaşındaydım. Çocukum mu be babaannem, çocukum mu?
Yaşındaydı.
Deden 24 yaşında oluyor. 9 yaş.
Nasıl tanışmıştınız siz? Anlat bakayım.
Köyde bir eş dost var işte. Öğretmen olduğu için çok şey tutuluyor ya mesela eskiden. Ona gidiyor soruyor, diyor ki abi ben diyor evlenmek istiyorum diyor. Vallahi diyor okumamış var ama diyor benden için. Ama diyor o çok küçük, vermezler diyor dedene. Ya ben zaten onu istiyorum abi diyor deden de. Benim babama diyor ki gidiyorlar işte böyle böyle, yok diyor. Kızım küçük diyor. Yok diyorlar, illa olacak. 15 gün dedem peşinden, babamın peşinden koşuyorlar. Ondan sonra geliyorlar, beni istiyorlar. 15 gün benim nikahımla uğraşıyorlar. Sonra yıldırım nikahı yapıyorlar. Yaşımı büyütüyorlar benim. Sonra bir sene bizi dedenle çok güzel, iyi ki o zaman İyi ki nişanlanmıştık. Daha da çok küçüktüm aslında ama o beni her şeyi öğretti. Güzel günler gördüm kızım. Bir daha görmedim. Düğün şeyi bu benim hikayem.
Yaparsın, tamam mı bebeğim?
Tamam.
Görüşürüz.
Tamam, çok öpüyorum seni.
Seni çok seviyorum babaannem.
Ben de seni
Kendine iyi
çok
bak.
seviyorum.
Hadi kuzum.
Teşekkür
Çok
ederim
tatlısın.
anlattığın için.
Tamam canım. Kendine iyi bak.
This is it. They're coming now, I think. Hopefully, anyway, yeah. They're coming. Yeah, this is it, yeah. Yeah. They're here? No, not yet. Hi, it's me. How are you, man? Here. Yeah, oh, okay. So how it is then. Hi, how are you? How are you? Yeah, oh, okay. What? Why you just walk past? Is that do I not exist for you or anything anymore? It's like you're just ignoring me, and now you just don't exist, and you just walk past like that. I thought you usually come and get me, but now what? Okay, and then just walk off and just yeah, I'll just sit here, continue. Oh man, I miss those days.
Now let me tell you about New Year's Eve's in Dorking when I was about 18. It was traditional in those days to do a pub crawl. Not only a pub crawl, but we used to go around in fancy dress on New Year's Eve. Some of the various nights we had a Scottish night where we all wore kilts. We had Tarts and Vicars night. We had a medieval night. One year we decided to wear, for some weird reason, World War II uniforms. And one year we all went round in togas. Obviously in December that was a bit chilly, but it was still quite fun. Our first point of call was always the Bush. Tiniest, weeniest pub in the whole of Dorking. It was like walking into somebody's front room. The owners had 2 huge Great Danes, so it wasn't a great deal of room to move around. After that, we trotted down to the Prince of Wales, which was a really cute little pub. Always had the football on. As I went round with mostly boys at that point, it was always a bit of a tricky one to try and get them out. We would then wander down through the town to the Surrey Yeoman. Probably my most favourite pub, probably had the best memories in there. To the left as you went in was where my granddad and all his old cronies sat and played dominoes. To the right, we used to have a Space Invader machine we used to use as a table, although my friend Andrew was completely addicted. This was the pub where I wasn't allowed to drink, even when I got to 18. My dad was the local policeman, and the landlady knew my dad really well, and she was always a bit scared that she was going to get into trouble. So I used to end up sipping everybody else's pints. And I would like to point out as well that most of the time, some of them were younger than me and shouldn't have been drinking, and I was older and could have been and wasn't allowed to. Anyway, yeah, and that's another one that was a bit tricky to get out of on New Year's Eve. Next pub was the Malt House. That was the disco pub, usually another one-drink place, because it was one of the first places in Dorking that used to be a ticket-only place after 10 o'clock. We would then wander up to the Bully. Now, the Bully was owned by my friend Simon's mum, Auntie Pam. So she always looked after us all really, really well. New Year's Eve was always, the pub was absolutely heaving. It was decorated to the hilt for Christmas. Auntie Pam always used to make sure there was space at the bar for us all and that we all got served. It was also a darts pub. We used to have a Dorking League, Dorking and the surrounding villages darts league. Another favourite part of that, probably my most favourite part of that pub, was they used to have a little jukebox by the door. And New Year's Eve, if we were really lucky and Auntie Pam was in a good mood, we used to go in and we used to get an extra drink in there after midnight, because in those days, once you sang Old Lang Syne and Cheers Midnight, everyone got kicked out. Then we would roll on to the King's Arms, probably the oldest pub in Dorking. It's actually really unchanged from when I used to go in there back in those days. My favourite place to sit was in the booths, which is opposite the main bar, because I was really nosy, still am, and you could see everyone coming in. New Year's Eve, the music was amazing. It was always some kind of a live band, and it was always absolutely packed. Last stop of the night, always, which is where we always spent midnight, was the old house at home. Everyone used to congregate by the big fireplace, and we all used to gather round and we all used to sing Old Lang Syne before doing a big cheers at midnight. It was our local, probably from the age of about 16. They never bothered about us being underage. In fact, our teachers used to drink in there and bought us drinks anyway. On the odd occasion, they'd supply us with a sneaky fag too. I used to have a little puppy. His name was Sam, and I used to take him there in an Adidas sports bag. He was very, very popular. And many years ago, that's how we spent New Year's Eve in Dorking. In kilts, in RAF uniforms, in togas, dressed as tarts or vicars. That's just the way it went. And it was brilliant.